Reflecting on my misery, I'm not the person that I used to be. I'm still connected to the kid in me. Sega Genesis and Power Rangers in my memory. So Bone Thugs, middle school, I see life move faster and faster. Some sped fast and they clash with disaster. Some live the street life, saw death and was spared by the God. Now they a pastor. I passed up the fast lane. Could have had mad things in the black range with the cash rain, cause I trap in the rap game. But I would've lived a lie. I wanna be known for the better things in life. If I have fame, I'm on a quest to fulfill the best of my will. Making checks that's ain't nothing less than a mill. But if I have to change me, then I'd rather be broke, because my self-respect is for real.
Regrets and tears, but I'm not going back no more. Anxieties and fears, they will not hold me back no more.
They'll never hold me back, no, they'll never hold me back.
I'm holding it, it's time for me to let it go. I will not go my whole life without letting the genius in me show. The time is now.
The time is now.
I will be great.
I will be great.
The time is now.
The time is now.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
What is up, y'all? What is up? What is up? It is your boy Woods. I am back with another podcast. I told y'all I ain't going nowhere. But today I got a very, very special guest, special co-host, the beautiful Miss Keisha Love Jones. How are you doing today?
Yay! Hey everyone. Hey Devin. I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Very blessed and grateful. Grateful that you reached out to me for this exciting opportunity. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking forward to, getting to explain a lot of the things I have going on. So thank you for having me.
So the first thing that I say to every guest, nobody can introduce themselves better than themselves. So if you could, please tell us some of the ventures you got going on and who Keisha is.
Sure. So a lot of you from the home state, of course, you guys know me from Everett High School. Know me probably from having the four brothers, being a little bit rough around the edges. But anyway, so as of right now, I'm actually, focusing on my daughter's business, Wholesome Girl, as well as finishing up my master's degree in marketing. I also have been called to start the group, the Avengers of Lansing, Michigan, which is a group that comes together to share resources to help inspire and encourage the youth. So it's
Okay.
awesome because it's full of leaders in there. So it's pretty cool.
What actually inspired you to make that group? Because something had to move inside of you to say, I'm living out of state right now, but I still want to make a positive influence in my community. What made you do that?
I think honestly, it tugged at my heartstrings when, we lost someone very dear to us. That was actually my nephew's brother, Cherie Ross's, her youngest son, Marshawn. Try not to get all emotional about it, but
Yeah.
I think that it really tugged at my heartstrings because I hated to see, how much it hurt my nephew, how much it hurt her. I understood a mother's pain, because me being a mother of 6 children and raising
Yeah.
2 sons myself, I can only imagine, losing, a child that you're raising up, especially someone that you're devoting your life to, that you're out there, that you're striving for, to lose that. It's a big loss. And I felt that it was only right to be able to be a part of the movement. So a friend of mine, Adrienne Bell, you all probably know her as Adrienne Davis.
You know who I know that
You
is.
know
That's
I
my
know,
girl.
you know.
Shout out to Adrienne. Okay.
Shout out to Adrienne. She reached out to me and she asked me, hey sis, is there anything that you can do? Is there anything, that can be done from where you're at? Obviously living on the West Coast, it, was very difficult for me to really think of how could I be there, being that I'm so many miles away. But then I started brainstorming and I had noticed that people were trying to, share different ideas, but it was kind of like on different pages. And then I said to myself, you know what, to eliminate that confusion, let me just create one source, one page where we can all collaborate and come together, where everybody can share ideas, where we can all, unify and come up with some different types of opportunities that can help the youth. So that's how that got started. And it's been going awesome. A lot of people share resources within the group. A lot of people inspire within the group. If you haven't even checked out that group, anyone, please do check it out. The Avengers of Lansing, Michigan. You will find great resources for our youth out there, job opportunities out there. It lets you know the happenings around Lansing, Michigan. We don't like to focus on the negative things going on out there. We rather focus on the positive things. So I do love that about the group, is that we have a lot of great leaders in there that are opening up and sharing their time, resources. We even have places where you can go and pick up clothing for your children, pick up food. The Village of Lansing has been a big part of it. We also have AJ.
Shout out to Mike and Erica. That's my people right there. That's my brother. Shout out.
We have AJ. She's in the group who shares a lot of her resources. We got Terrence Cooper. There's so many people to name. Angela Watkins. Derek Knox. It's a list of people. And forgive me if I didn't call your name. We've got, Gary, we know him as Woo. We have so many awesome people in that group that have shared information. They have been such a pivotal part in moving Lansing in the right direction. Shout out to those who are hosting these magnificent balls that are encouraging people to get dressed up and come together.
Everybody was looking so beautiful. I love that.
They were looking awesome. Yeah, they were looking good. And I wish I could have been there. But just shout out to Mrs. Marshonda Dixon. There's just so many awesome people. And like I said, forgive me if I didn't call your name.
No, that's all good. We understand how that goes.
Right.
But we said something that's really important about people that are just doing major things in the community. And that's who our guest that we have on, that we collaborated to have our guest on. So he's one of the main news. But go ahead, I'm going to let you finish your segment for sure.
Okay, so yes, Chad. Now, Chad, I've been knowing for years. Chad is awesome. One of the main givers out there. Honestly, he is. What I love about Chad is that he gives without wanting anything in return. He doesn't give for notoriety or anything. And I love that he comes from a place of authenticity or authenticness or whatever. He's really one of the down-to-earth type of people that I love to have in my circle. I love his music. I love that he's positive.
All right, hold on. I think you had a little bit of technical difficulties, Keisha. All right, I think you're back. Are you back?
Okay, I'm back. I apologize,
there you
everyone,
go.
but I love that he's a great role model in the community. He encourages the youth to come together and utilize their artistic skills.
Yes,
he encourages positivity within the youth. I love the fact that he's always doing these programs, and they're free. A lot of his programs, they're free. All it is for people to get the word out and encourage the youth to join and sign up. I mean, I just think what he's doing is awesome.
So without any further ado, my brother, your brother, Mr. Chadwick Niles Phillips, what's going on, family?
What's good, fam?
Man, it's feeling great, man. You looking good, brother? Looking healthy.
Thanks for that introduction too, Keisha. I appreciate that.
That was a beautiful introduction. It was definitely all true, man. That's what you do.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, it is.
Definitely. Appreciate
I couldn't stop playing his CD. I'll be honest. I couldn't stop playing your CD. My children were like, she's playing that CD. Yes, I'm playing that CD.
What's your favorite song on the album? What's your favorite song? Tell me so I can listen to it.
Honestly, I like every one of them. I like every one of his songs. To Remain. If I'm not getting it incorrect, it's To Remain. Right, Chad?
Mm-hmm. That's one of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to me, I played one of the songs and it encouraged me. I think it kind of took me back and made me feel a little bit like a positive, I don't know, gangster, but not a gangster, but you know what I mean?
Right.
This makes me feel pretty cool. So I have
a little bit of technical. It's all good. But we're gonna keep it pushing, though, Keish. I might need you to drop off and come right back in. So I'm gonna chop it up with our brother right quick in the meantime. All righty?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, G. Well, look at my dude right here, man. Are you serious? I'm looking at Chad. I'm looking at my dude right here. That's what I'm talking to. My homie that I done grew up since day one with is right here. Day one? Okay.
Day one.
So, man, it's so good to see you, man. Let's talk about some of these ventures you got going on, man. I talked to you on the phone yesterday. You told me about some of the things you got coming up. My mind was blown, man. So let's just start from day one. What is your next event that you got coming up right now? Your youth event, your next youth event, or the one you just had?
Yeah. So first of all, peace and love to everybody. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good night tonight.
Yes,
so
sir.
One of the events I have going on through my company, the Avant-Garde, is we're putting on an event at the Bloomington Center for the Arts in Bloomington. It's a suburb outside of Minneapolis at the amphitheater, and we're featuring the band that backs Stokely Williams from Mint Condition. Stokely has one of the top albums in the country right now, featuring her, featuring Snoop Dogg, and he's out of the Twin Cities. He's from St. Paul, Minnesota, and it's this band called MPLS, and they pack the joint out every single time they have an event.
Wow.
They are incredible. I always wanted to.
Where you throwing it? Where you throwing it at?
It'll be at the Bloomington Center for the Arts. So if y'all want to fly out here and get down with the Avant-Garde, it'll be perfect.
I just told you, I'm coming to one of your events. I'm coming to the Avant-Garde. I'm going to celebrate with you and come to one of your events because they look amazing. Even your televised ones. You're so articulate and you're so professional in the manner in which that you put yourself out there. You don't put yourself out there in any kind of way. You make sure that it's proper. And I salute you to that, man. For sure.
My guy Woods. And we have a concert, outdoor concert at the Minnesota Twins Stadium where the Twins play at the Target Field Center. It's called
Hold on, you're throwing an event where?
At the stadium where the Minnesota Twins play. Called Fall in Love. It's a fall season outdoor festival featuring 4 neo-soul R&B artists, live band, and a DJ by the name of DJ Dime. She DJ'd at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. She's everywhere, and I'll be hosting. And then for BCFI, Building Child and Family Initiatives in Lansing, I'm teaching a virtual class to youth from 3rd grade to 8th grade. It's artist development and life coaching. And in December, we're going to have a Kids of the 517 Part 2 virtual concert where they'll be performing what they learned. And we sold it out at the first one. So shout outs to everybody who showed up for our youth back in the 517. So.
I mean, so how did that turn out? I wasn't there. So how did that actually feel to go back home? And it had to feel like a dream come true to be able to go home and then give back to the youth in that manner and have the support that you had.
That's what it's all about, man. Like to see people from back home showing love to everything that I do, that's like a dream. Like everywhere I go, I always scream out 517, Lansing, all of that. So to have that Kids of the 517, we're looking at youth who are walking the same streets we used to walk, who attend the same schools that we used to attend. We were those same kids in Lansing at the community centers, hooping, doing everything. So to get back to them and then to be able to do it during a pandemic. See, this is a positive side of what's going on. You know, like as long as you focus on what the message that God is trying to tell you behind all the madness, you will be led to the light. You will be guided to some incredible things because without it, we wouldn't be able to do it because it wouldn't have been virtual. You see? So I'm here in Minneapolis, changing lives of youth in a whole other state in the city that I'm from. It's incredible, man. It's beautiful.
It's really inspirational and motivating because that's kind of what Destined for Greatness is about. You know, it's all about I can't be physically in the town that my family is in, like all my cousins, you know, even my children. I have still back in Lansing. I love Lansing. So how can I get back to the city? What can I do even though I'm not there? And this the pandemic all kind of opened up a lot of gates if people would have paid attention. Because when we talk, you always said you made the most money in the pandemic. You had the most success. You know what I mean? Because you took advantage of the virtual. Yeah. You made sure that you didn't let anything stop you. You were like, all right, we shut down, but I can't stop. Yeah. I still got things to do.
Shut things down, but it opened the world up.
It did.
So all the programmings that you do, if it's universal, you can holler at people in Japan, in Belgium, in the Dominican Republic, and tell them what you do. Now you have a virtual situation going on, whether it's a curriculum, whether it's a show, so on and so forth. So during these times, you still have to pay attention to the positives in between the darkness, and it'll lead you to some great places.
Man, so speaking of some places that you've been, man, you've been all over the place, man. Let's like I say, nobody can introduce themselves like themselves, you know. So I want you to give a little bit of quick background about who you are before you even got to this place, because you're at a place where some people don't know how to achieve it. It seems unattainable because there's so many levels to get there. So what are some of the steps you took to even get to the place to have a curriculum, to have a program, to throw shows?
All right. Peace and love, everybody. This is Chadwick Niles Phillips. Everybody back home knows me as Alias or Chad. And I'm an artist. I am an entrepreneur. I am a concert producer. I host events. I'm a curriculum creator. I teach different programmings, artist development, and life coaching for youth. I have an album I'm working on, my sophomore album. My first album, To Remain, is out right now. And I'm just a brother to everyone. I feel like through what I do, I represent God. I represent optimism. I represent forward movement. And I represent community and unification. And that's what it's all about. From Lansing, Michigan, 517, lived all around the city, went to every school. So that's the city I'm from. And to have this type of platform that you're creating, Devin, is very important, man, because it's a lot of people out of the city that's doing amazing things. So this is giving just a great shine on all of us. So salute to you.
Man, and salute to you. So what? Keisha says she's ready, man. I think she has a few questions for you. I'm not done with you because this interview going to get serious because we have too much to talk about. But she definitely has some intuitive and important questions for you. So I'm going to bring the young lady back on, man.
All right.
Hey, thank you.
Hey,
Okay,
Keisha.
so obviously you've done a lot of great things, Chad. Very memorable things in my opinion. So my question would be, what encourages you every day? Like, what's that internal, I guess, push that you get? Like, what motivates you?
The highest motivation to me is, I'd say, God. You know, every time that I wake up, I think, God, what do you want me to do today? That's the thing that's always pushed me throughout my whole life. And then just thinking about the past, the different things that I overcame, and the message and testimony that I need to send out to everybody. That's what truly pushes me each and every day that I do my thing, for sure.
Okay, we have a little photo bomber, I guess you could say. But okay, but that's awesome. So I did attend that one event that you had.
Yeah.
I think I remember attending the virtual event that you had. I think it was the virtual talent show.
Yeah, the kids of the 517. Yeah.
So that was awesome. I loved it. I love the turnout. I love that the youth had a voice. You know, I love how it encouraged them. So I thought that was great.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So I guess, as far as like the youth and everything, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now with what it is you're doing?
In 5 years, I see the hip hop history and the arts curriculum as a global entity being taught in different schools, from colleges to elementary schools. Right now, I'm doing a content curriculum programming for St. Thomas University between a program called the GHR Fellows, which is a business fellowship program, and SPC Claver, which is a Black Catholic middle school. So this is just the beginning of like that whole frontier. So within 5 years, hip hop history and the arts is a curriculum in colleges, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools globally, being taught by different teachers. And then me doing workshops with teachers to show them how to teach hip hop pedagogy. So.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yes.
Now, would you say being from a small town like Lansing, Michigan, where it's like, in my opinion, I feel like we all kind of grew up together. We all have this special bond. It's so weird. Like, no matter what part of town we're from, I feel like we're all connected in some way. Yeah. Do you feel that? And does that also encourage you to keep pushing, to kind of get back to the city?
Totally. I mean, being from Lansing taught me to always work hard, you know, because it's the smallest city. So when you have like a universal spirit, it's like you always have to prove yourself. I feel like being from Lansing, wherever I went, it was like, okay, I got to prove myself. Because I'm always amongst people from like the bigger cities. That's like super well-known cities. And I think that being from a city that's in the cut with so much talent, it's a hidden gem, you know? So to leave and to represent it, it shines light on everything else that's going on within there. And then along with that, just all of my people from back home, like I'm very nostalgic minded. I think back to when I was coming up in Lansing all the time. I remember when the bus would pick y'all up, you know, pick y'all up and drop y'all off at your house, you, Emmanuel, and your family. I just have different flashbacks of coming up in Lansing, and it just always reminded me to stay humble too, you know? Because my come up was a little unorthodox, you know, homeless times, moving around a lot, hungry nights, but at the same time, still having love within the spaces that I was in, and always just keeping my mind going forward, knowing that I was different, knowing that there was something unique about me, and that kept me away from the streets and being in trouble, and then just the path cleared, and it was just home run from there, you know.
Now, one thing I do want to touch on is the fact that, you know, you have this inner strength about you. I think you and I had spoke on a level, you know, on a more personal level about that before, that you and I had a lot of that in common. And I'm going to be honest with you, the way that you carry yourself, as well as your brothers, you would never have known that was the, you know, the start of your story. You would never have known that you were someone who had to, you know, wonder where you would sleep that night, or where you would, you know, get your food from that night. I mean, it's like, it's amazing because like every one of you are doing something and you're successful. Honestly, I observed that. I said, wow, they really, you know, your mother did an awesome job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I credit definitely my mother and my grandparents. I call my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather the three pillars of love in my life. You know, they cared about me the most. They showed me the way the most, and the sacrifices that they made. I still to this day can't even understand how they made those sacrifices being older. So I totally credit them for everything, for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. All right, Devin, I'm not going to take it over. Good job, though. Proud of you.
Thank you, Keisha. And you too. Everything that you're doing with the Avengers of Lansing, that page, all of us posting it. And we always try to give as much as we can to help the next generation, because that's who we were coming up. So
awesome, Keisha. Thank you so much for that. The very intuitive questions. I'm going to put you backstage for a second so I can get some more questions of my big bro.
Right,
sounds
Keisha,
good.
for sure.
All right, man. We back, big dog.
What's goody?
Man, let's talk about it, man. Let's
go.
talk about it. Let's talk about it. Actually, she actually brought something up that really, really was interesting. You and your brother, speaking of, shout out to Silas, Phillips, and Butch, and all the rest of you. Got so many brothers. Yeah. So those are my friends. Those are my friends. Like, so I know you kind of through Silas, you know, because we was infamous. It was me, Silas, Jeff Allen, Juan Hollins, Dante Mitchell, Andre Johnson. That was our squad. You know what I'm saying? And you was little brother, and you was always with us. Yep. But what she said that was interesting is we never knew. We never knew. Like, you guys always had smiles on your face. You guys are always still down the roasting class clown, and still, it was like no one knew. And like I said, and I just want to shout out to your mother for always showing you the values in life, because your etiquette in life is a salute to it, because you carry yourself and represent our city so well in the Twin Cities, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about the some of the things that the avant-garde got coming up, man, because I know we were down, and that's your baby right there. Because I know that you've been you done some major things working with like your favorite producer's mother, working with her, throwing shows, man. Can you please tell us a little bit about some of the things you've done? I don't like to tell, man. It's your business.
Yeah. So the Avant-Garde is a music, arts, entertainment production company where we put on curated events, concerts, all different types of outings within the Twin Cities. And then virtually it opened up to so much more. But some of the main shows that I've had was featuring Rakim, Most Def,
Come on.
Raekwon, Camp Low, Slum Village, Pete Rock with the Dilla Day program. So many shows. And along with that, through Dilla Day, which is a foundation where we throw a show every year that pays tribute to Jay Dilla. Salute to Jay Dilla, my biggest inspiration ever. Through that, we was able to meet his mother, Maureen Yancey, a.k.a. My Dukes. So we fly her out here every year. The last one we had featured Pete Rock. It was sold out.
Pete Rock? Yo, you brought Pete Rock, man?
Yeah, hosted the show. It was absolutely amazing. And then through that, I formed a relationship with Jay Dilla's mom. You know, we started building, and then she invited me out to Detroit twice. The first time was to perform at the Dilla Detroit event, which is a tribute event to Jay Dilla in Detroit. That was the first time. Then the second time they flew me out to present about my youth program, perform, and sit on a panel with some of the Detroit greats, you know, like Super MC from Almighty Dreadnoughts. It was amazing. And we spoke about the history of Jay Dilla. Now, coming up in Lansing, we'd always go to Detroit, the Electronic Music Festival, St. Andrews, interim battles, all that stuff. So it's always been like a respect, from Dwelle to Slum
Yeah.
Village to Elzai to Eminem, D12, so on and so forth. So to be sitting in the church that Jay Dilla grew up in, to be invited there, it was very sacred, man. It was
By his
beyond.
mother. You're not just
Yeah.
invited by, you're a part, like she's looking at you as a tribute to her son at all times, because you show some, that has to be a dream come true. Like I told you yesterday, that's like Timberland, mama hitting me up. And because Timberland, that's my favorite producer. You're like,
Right, yeah.
Timbo, I'm just hitting up Timbo's mom, bro. That's an honor. And it's because of your hard work. It's hard not to respect a black man that's representing himself the correct way.
Thank you, fam. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. I look up to people like Miles Davis, Eric Roberson.
Yeah, let's talk about the Miles Davis thing, because I see him in the back, man. I see the Miles Davis in the back. Explain the love of Miles Davis, man. What's that about?
Well, my pops, y'all, I don't know if anybody knew this, but he came up in the bebop era. He graduated from Juilliard in the mid-50s. My father's 90 years old. Longest tenured African-American in the United States Symphony Orchestra, 48 years. And he came up in the bebop era with Miles Davis, Billie Holiday. Talking to him on the phone is like watching a movie in black and white about the history of black music and black arts. So Miles Davis is just a part of that. I've always respected his story, how he overcame his struggles, how he had to lock himself in his room. He was like, I'm not leaving this room until I overcome what this addiction is. Just that by itself was like, wow, and the things that he had to overcome with the police, just during that whole era. On one side, it was music and art, but on the other side, it was a civil rights movement and so many different ills that was going on. And he was all about representing our people the right way and representing the art the right way. And his music, some of the coldest, the Sketches of Spain, that's right there. And I have some silhouettes and silhouette paintings, all different types of stuff. So
man, I'm looking at the paintings, man. I'm sitting back admiring. That's why I had to zoom them in. I wanted everybody really to see the beauty of the artwork.
Yeah.
So man, I did not know that your father was so into the music. Like, it makes so much more sense with you and your brother Butch why you guys are so musically inclined like that, because it's your father. That's a new part of the story, man. I'm glad the podcast brought that up.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Sam
I'm like,
Gill.
this dude love. I'm like, you love jazz music. Like, your post is just jazz. I'm like, what is his love with jazz? I have to ask my brother that.
Yeah, jazz is it's some music that cools me out. It puts me in a reflective state of mind. And like I said, I'm very nostalgic minded, and I always respect the history of everything, because in order to go where you're going, you have to know where it came from and the people who made all the sacrifices for you to have what you have, So
it makes a lot of sense.
A big part of that, and plus just the way cats dressed, the sophisticated
fly.
style.
They was fly, man. They was, Ooh, I wish I was born in that era, man. I would have been dope. I'm
me
telling
too,
you,
bro. Yeah, bro. So salute to the hip hop era for real.
Yeah, man. So speaking of that era, and speaking of you in general, for you to be doing so many podcasts and putting yourself out there so much, you're a very, very private person. Right, you really stay to yourself. You don't really put yourself up, but you've been doing a lot more lately of putting in this.
Yeah.
What's behind that? What's making you want to come out a little bit more and let people know who you are and open up about your story and your testimony? What's making you want to do that nowadays?
Well, my thing is all about legacy, and legacy is all about everyone else besides yourself. That's why I named my album To Remain, because the people who remain throughout time are the ones who gave as much as humanly possible to the world when it came down to their gifts, when it came down to their blessings, So me letting people know about my testimony, letting people know about what I had to overcome, about my successes, about my accomplishments, it makes me relate. It makes them relate. It makes us bond that much more, because when people see what they can relate with, what they can connect with, it makes them inspired. It makes them motivated. And when someone thinks of you, when they speak of you, when they see you, it's all about you bringing a vibe of inspiration or an inspiration of ease to whatever problems they have, just through your vibe, So, and I'm all about the work. I'm not about the attention. Some of the greats were the people that was just about the work and the brand, And then when they see you, So my thing is, hard work brings results. Attention doesn't. So.
That's big facts, man. That's big facts. So, We're gonna keep this interview going. We all three on this thing now.
Yeah.
I had Keisha said she had some more she wanted to talk to you about, man. So I brought my sister on.
What's
Yeah,
good?
thank you, Devin. So yes, I did have another question. So I know that you lived in New York City, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How long were you there?
I was there for 3 years, from 06 to 09.
Okay, awesome. What was that experience like?
It was live. It was very fun. I was able to move out there and travel through the avenues of career that I always wanted to. On the music tip, I went out there and was able to win a talent search that Hot 97 threw with Koch Records, which was a major record label at the time.
Awesome.
DJ Envy, thank you. DJ Envy from the Breakfast Club, he DJ'd for me when I performed at Summer Jam at Giant Stadium. And Miss Jones, so it was Miss Jones from Hot 97, who was a radio personality at that time, and Koch Records. I was working with both of them. Along with that, I worked at BET, CBS, New York City Fashion Week, and I started teaching with a curriculum called the Hip Hop Project that came out with the movie about the Hip Hop Project. It was a documentary that was produced and directed by Bruce Willis and Queen Latifah. So to be within that cipher while I was out there, and then being a person from Lansing at that was amazing. So it was almost like everyone from back home was just rooting me on, and it was an inspiration portal between me and everyone back in the city. And I was on a BT commercial rapping about Obama during his campaign. So it was live. Yeah. Shout outs to New York City, and all my family on my Caribbean side is in New York, in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Shout outs to the Gills. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are they from? Where's your the Caribbean side? Where are they from?
They're from Barbados.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, I had lived out there too, so I can definitely attest to what you're saying as far as like that art and that culture. I found that New York City opened my mind up to other avenues, you know?
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. I moved out there and it was like, you know, like after college, you work on your master's. It was like working on a master's, but in life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, I could go on and on about the vibe.
Yes, that freedom of expression, right?
Totally. You know, the train stations, the infrastructure, the food, the culture. It's like the art capital of the world. So anyone who's highly artistic, when they go there, they feel like home, like it's home.
Right.
And you're accepted. Like if you're live like that and you're raw and you're just a hard worker, no matter where you're from, New York will help exalt you. So shout outs to NYC, all boroughs. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree to that. Now, what I did like, you had mentioned that your father, you said he graduated from Juilliard.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, that's the school I attended when I first went out to New York City. Wow. I went to Juilliard. Yeah, I was actually, well, when I went there, I was actually trying to audition with my dance thing at the time. So I took a tour, and it was so wild because I remember that movie, Save the Last Dance. Remember Save the Last Dance?
Of course, yeah.
So I was so inspired by that. And when I went and I toured the campus, and even though I decided on a different school, it was that experience. It was the fact that I had dreamt about that. And then I was there. And you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, NYC, it's one of those places you just walk down the street and see a celebrity that you grew up with. It's like, it's one of those places. They'll just be like at the bodega picking something up on their way to a trailer for a movie that they're doing. So and just that alone creates a burst of inspiration. So it's inspiration all around to an artistic mind when they're in New York, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I will say this about you. This is the vibe I get from you. So you're not really like a starstruck type of person. I don't get that from you. I get that you're more of a very down to earth, someone who keeps it real. You know, it's like either they accept you or they don't. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, take it or leave it. You know.
That's awesome.
But it's all about just connection to me. You know, everything else will be what it's going to be. You know, I think when you add too much, it's almost like too much sauce. You know, like in the beginning, something could taste good. But when it's too much of it, it's like it starts to be bitter, you know?
Right.
Just be yourself, do what you do. And it's really about the work. It's not about the words or what you wear, your swagger, your style. It ain't about none of that. It's about the work, you know?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it exudes from the soul. In my personal opinion, I think a lot of that authentic personality, it can't be made. It's born. It can't be made. It's born. It's either you have it or you don't.
Totally.
And it is something that people can sense it. They can feel that. And that's one of the reasons why I actually, appreciate and praise a lot of the things that you're doing, because I know it's coming from your heart. I know it's not coming from a selfish place. It's
Not
coming
at
from
all.
the fact that you really get joy out of helping the youth. I can see
truly
it,
do.
that you really get joy out of that. And maybe it even resonates with you and what you've been through. So,
Totally. Yeah. I mean,
mhm.
like when I look at these youth, I see so many situations that they're in that I used to be in,
Yeah.
and when I teach, I treat them like I already know them. I treat them like
Mhm.
they're my favorite students ever. It's like, I don't know you, but I'm giving you this supreme respect. And then it's like, you got to prove me wrong. But if you start off from that standpoint with the youth, they're
Mhm.
automatically open, because it's like, okay, this dude gets it. And I'm,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm nostalgic minded. I'm still connected to my youth. And I feel
Mhm.
like staying connected with what inspired you when you were younger, that can actually give you energy for the day. A lot of people have that inspiration when they were younger, and then it burns out. And now they're a
Yeah.
shell of them former selves.
Yeah, that can
That's why
happen.
when you do the things you love and you're able to survive and have that career, people say,
Mhm.
oh, I went to school with him, or I went to school with her, or I went to school with them.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
it keeps that energy, that nostalgia, that inspiration
Right.
that you had back then
Right.
alive. So when I connect
Mhm.
with youth, it's easy. It's
Yeah. And
easy.
I love
I'm
that. I
still a
love
kid
that
at
you
heart too. So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And I love that you reach back. I love that, just because, you may know who you know, or you've been on different stages and platforms, you're still you. You're still able
Totally.
to connect with those you grew up with. I think that's awesome and
Yeah,
very
I mean, being from Lansing is it's very unique,
hmm
and seeing everybody who I grew up with showing love, people like yourself, people like Devin, Kafara. I can name so many different people: Patrice and Sharice, Lakaz, Ward, so many people. I'm gonna keep naming people as I go along, because I want to give everybody
That's
their
how I
roses.
felt. I was like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and Shanice Ali, who's a cousin of mine, she just opened up a store in Lansing called
Oh,
Love Your Selfie Factory. So everybody go out
oh,
there,
nice.
show love. Yeah. It's so just
Is that in
seeing
Lansing?
it's in Lansing. Yeah. And that was a dream she had.
Oh,
And then the
nice.
Avengers of Lansing, Michigan page that
hmm
you put up, it shows your passion for the city. It
Yeah.
shows that you're connected to what's going on, and you want to see our youth and our city uplifted. So yes,
Yes. I
we
would
all have
love
a
to
connection
collaborate.
too. We all
Yeah,
have a connection too. It's an
we
interesting connection
do.
we have as people from the L. So
Yeah, I would actually love to collaborate with you and others to do something maybe in the summertime. But my mind is always going. I think as an entrepreneur, or as even like a youth activist or someone who's passionate, your mind, and I'm sure Devin can agree, your mind continues to go, right?
totally.
It just
Yeah,
continues.
yeah.
There's like no stopping
Correct.
point. You're just
Exactly.
always like, you know, just a dreamer. You're someone who's facilitating, someone who's actually going out there. You're getting it. You know what I mean? And I
Thank you.
don't feel
Correct.
like we're on anyone's timeline, right? We're on our own
Not at all.
timeline, because
No.
sometimes I think that's the pressure of the world, is that we feel like we have to show and prove and check in. And I found
Right.
that no, we don't. Right? We don't
Exactly.
have to
Yeah.
check in and say where
Totally.
we're at. The point is,
Exactly.
when you're doing it from the heart, and you're doing it, definitely having God as your foundation, everything's going to come together in time, the time that it's supposed to come together,
Totally.
regardless. Yeah.
And
But
when it comes together in God's time, it's perfect. It's like
mhm,
it just falls off the bone. It's just easy.
it
It just
does.
comes together. It simmers perfectly. So it's all about patience, persistence, and hard work. And when
Mhm.
those three combine, the situations that manifest, you like some situations is like, for real, this is absolutely perfect. But if you
Mhm.
rush, then you could
Yeah.
be prematurely burning yourself out. So
hmm
definitely.
Been there, been there.
Yep,
Man,
we
what
all have.
some that was some excellent questioning, Keisha. I must give you your props. You
Yeah,
are
Keisha,
for
you
this
did
be
your
your
thing.
first
Oh,
time you ever interviewed. It was excellent. I mean, some
Definitely.
really some
oh,
questions I wouldn't
thank
even ask,
you.
and questions that he gave some
Shout
good
out.
answers to. So I really enjoyed this one. So Chad, I mean, anything that you just want to share that we might not have asked you at this point?
Yeah, so I'm working on a sophomore album right now. It's
What you got some?
yeah,
I gotta get
and
you some
that's
beats, man.
all
Go
I could
ahead.
say. It's a lot of top secret
Awesome.
under wrap stuff, but
Yeah.
I can say that Ben Williams, he's a Grammy Award winning bassist, and what's his name? Keon Harold, who has worked with Jay-Z, Beyonce, 50 Cent, everybody. He's a producer and instrumentalist as well. They're coming out with a video featuring me called Take It From Me, where I'm speaking to my unborn son about what to expect as a man of color growing up in the world. But along with that, I'm telling him about where he comes from, the royalty he comes from, and always remember that. So the album's called I Am a Man. I'm featured on the song called Take It From Me. So listen to that in anticipation of the music video. And another artist by the name of Dane Sahaj, who is located here in the Twin Cities. He's dropping a video called Graffiti that I'm featured on as well. And one other artist by the name of John O, who is he was an actor in a couple of episodes on A Different World. Are y'all familiar with Afion Crockett? He's a comedian.
You don't know Avion. Avion
they
hilarious,
together,
man.
and John O just released a album. So I'm featured on a song coming up, and he's from Harlem. And the person he works with the Gecko Brothers, he's actually Cameo's son. You know the song just
Oh,
like
wow.
Hold on. Let me tell you a story about Cameo.
And I'm featured on John O's next video.
Dude, yo, Chad, listen to the story that I got with Cameo. I was a little boy, right, at his concert. My auntie took me to a Cameo concert when I was young, and I was dancing in the hallways. I was just getting it, man. I mean, the aisle, I mean. The dude called me on stage. I got on stage with Cameo and was gigging. Who has a story like that? It was, who remembers the Civics? Who remembers the Civic Center?
At the Civic Center, right?
That's how you know it was old school. It was at the Civic Center, man.
That's ill. And you was just a shorty.
I was a shorty. My auntie took me and I was just gigging, man. He was like, man, bring him on stage. And he was up there playing guitar. I was up there dancing.
There's memories like that, man, that just sparks all types of. I know you went home on fire. Like I'm.
Yeah, man. It's just the fact. Just remember, you brought up Cameo, man. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Man, Chad. You got so. How do you maintain with as much as you have going on? Like, how do you juggle all of these things? Not only do you have a curriculum for youth, you're throwing avant-garde, shows. You're giving me good advice to make sure I'm shining. You know, how do you stretch yourself so thin? But to make everything still so precise.
In all honesty, man, the power of God, it gives me just, and it's just always been this vast, endless energy that I've had. Like if it's something I'm passionate about, and I put my all into it, and then I let God take over, bro. Number one, it keeps me focused. Like laser focused, because I know what it's for. Along with that, it's like knowing what it's for, knowing the legacy that you're laying down, and thinking about the people that it's going to reach. Because right now we see each other in the physical, but it's another realm. It's a spiritual realm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
focusing on the hearts and the spirits of the people that I'm reaching, man, that gives me endless energy. And when you're living out your passion, man. So
you're living your passion right now. So right now you're living your dreams right now.
Bro, it's beautiful.
You can tell by that grin.
But it's a good balance too, because on one side it was like, being a famous artist, whatever. But when you have your own business and you're able to live a lifestyle that matches you instead of what other people want you to be or want you to do, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful because you're able to move at your pace. You're able to create just legacy. You're able to create destiny, not just for yourself, but for the people who you're reaching. So that just gives me a vast energy, man. I can't even explain it, bro. So I give all glory to God.
All glory. I'm telling you, because right now that's what he's doing, man. We're all children of God, and right now, and that's why we have the spotlight right now, because it's our turn, man. The Lord is like, you know what? I'm in time for my children to shine.
The last shall be first, and the first shall be last.
And that's what's happening right now. And I feel like the last. I was definitely the last. And I switched it up, man. And it's a switch up time. But people like you that stay consistent is a rare breed. You know what I'm saying? That from beginning to end, you were 15 years old and you knew what you wanted to do. You were like, no, I'm not going with y'all. Y'all might get in trouble, and I can't get in trouble. You'd be like, no, I could be a rapper. I could probably sign a deal right now. But I'm about to go ahead and go to college first, because what if this rap thing don't work out? I still got to be able to make some bread. You always had a forefront
It was
as
deals
a
on the
man.
table too. When
It was deals. I remember it was
Yeah.
deals, man. You were doing shows, you were traveling, and for you to stay focused at such a young age has always been admirable, bro. And that's why I had to put you on Destined for Greatness, man, because you're the definition of what Destined for Greatness is, son.
Thank you.
Yes,
fam.
salute to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yes,
And
sir,
just
man.
shout
So,
outs to everybody
give it up.
watching, and everybody who has a dream. Just keep on going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Don't
Keep
let nothing
going.
stop you. Nothing at all.
Hey, Keith, you got anything to say before we wrap up?
I actually was going to touch on one thing. One thing that Chad said that I also can relate to is when he said he never followed the crowd. He never followed
didn't.
the crowd.
He
And
didn't.
that was me. Like, even now, believe it or not, I'm still coming out of my shyness. You know, I've been told many times before I need to like do public speaking and things like that. A lot of people,
Mhm.
you know, they'll reach out to me, but I've always backed out of a lot of things, to be honest with you. I have.
Yeah.
This was one of the first things that I truly accepted to do publicly, believe it or not, besides my own little live
Hey, that's
video.
what's up.
Yeah,
I
this
take
is the
it.
first-
I appreciate you then even more for that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And I appreciate you. But this is the first thing because I came up with many reasons of why, like maybe, you know, because I have my own little inner things and I'm shy when I'm like on the spot. But then I said, you know what, if I don't do it, then there's always going to be the what if. Let me just step out in faith and let me just do it. You know, let me not worry about if my hair is all intact or, you know, if everything's going to be perfect. Let me just do it.
Exactly.
So what I wanted to say was, I like the fact that you don't follow the crowd. I like the fact that you are original and you pave your own way. I think that's important. I feel like that's one thing that I've always had growing up, and I always felt very strange about it. I always felt weird. I always felt like an outcast.
Yep.
And sometimes I used to feel like, you know, is there something wrong with me? You know, because like, even though I had friends, don't get me wrong, I had friends, but I never, I don't know, I never felt like I really fit into any particular group. You know what I mean? I always felt like I was a one person show, I guess, you know. And then I realized as I got older, that's what God was doing. He was preparing me for what he has for me to do. Like, you know, I've never smoked in my life, like whatsoever. And I don't look down on anyone who has. It's just that I've never smoked. I'm not a drinker. And, you know, and I've had dealt with many situations growing up with peer pressure. You know, even on my birthday, you know, hey, it's time you get a drink. And one time I did have a drink years ago. I won't go too far into the story, but I know I came home in a cab, and that was in New York City. And I didn't like that feeling. I was like, hey, how'd I get home? You know, the good thing is I told camp stories all night. They said, girl, you had everybody surrounded like a campground and you were just telling stories. I said, oh, thank God. I didn't do anything that I might regret, you know, but still, it was that I didn't like feeling like I didn't have self-control. You know what I mean?
I think when it comes to you, Keisha, I think that you're very much a person that's comfortable with being unique, though. So the fact that you are unique, you embrace it, which makes other people appreciate it. So just continue to be yourself, because what they're thinking of you is probably kind of what is she doing that I can do? So they're not looking at you to judge, they're looking at you kind of to be like you. And I think that's the point that you kind of always miss, is that the reason why you're different is because you're a leader. And when you're a leader, I mean, it's hard to actually see people left and right to you because there's only a few leaders in packs, right? So if you're a pack leader, it's going to hard when you're running a race. It's hard to look left and right if you're in first.
You're right, Devin. I never thought about it like that.
Man, this was an amazing show. I
Yes,
definitely enjoyed myself. And Chad, you know, we ain't going to be done talking all night, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to talk to you. So once again, everybody, love y'all. What a wonderful show. Chad, thank you, man, for everything you do for the city. Thank you for what you do for me as a friend, because like y'all, I wouldn't have all of these cool backgrounds and everything, and this man wouldn't be like, nah, Woods, that's whack. Nah, man, do this, man. Try this, yo. Oh, Woods, yo. It looks straight, Woods, but do it like this. If
He's
you wouldn't
really
do
good at
that,
You're right.
if you wasn't doing that for me, man, and I wasn't, you know, I got in my feelings one time, like, you think it's whack, bro? And he was like, don't you want to be the best? Don't you want to be the best? If you want to be the best, man, then go back to the drawing board. This ain't your best. I know that you're better than that. So when you have that type of person in your life that will make sure you don't fail, he says, Destined for Greatness is your thing, Woods. I just want to see you do it to the best of your abilities. And if I'm watching something and I'm thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. And I don't want them to think that about you.
Exactly.
So, brother, man, I just want to tell you thank you for that, man. There's too much respect that I got for you. I respect everybody that's on this live right now. I love y'all for tuning in for Desperate Greatness. It's season 2. We back. We did it.
Peace and love.
And we ain't doing nothing else but making it happen. What do I say every time, Chad?
What's
I'm
up?
out.